Ah, this is the big box. It's a big box, so we're gonna run through it. Okay. Welcome to Unboxing Sunday. I'm Christina. This is the D. Louise book series, KRISTINA. This is where I read books, talk about books, no special effects, no demons, and other fancy stuff going on here. So, anyways, I want to get through this. Um, there's a lot of books. So, most of these authors I don't recognize. Some of them I do. So, Peter Hedges, The Heights. Um, Tim Welch is a popular history teacher at Montauk Academy, an exclusive private school in Brooklyn Heights, New York. I was an odd looking, gawky kid, but I think my rocky start forced me to develop empathy, kindness, and a tendency to be enthusiastic. All of this, I now convinced, helped me in my quest to be worthy of Kate Oliver. Kate is not ordinary, but she aspires to be. She stays at home with their two young sons in a modest apartment, trying desperately to become the parent she never had. Tim and Kate are seemingly the last middle-class family in the Heights, happily getting by until one day their neat and tidy world is turned upside down by Anna Brody, the new neighbor who moves into the most expensive brownstone in Brooklyn. Anna is not only beautiful and wealthy, she's also impulsive, and for reasons Kate doesn't quite understand, even as all the Range Rover driving moms jockey for access into Anna's circle. Anna sets her sights on Kate and Tim and brings them into her world. It's fun, dazzling, in fact, to pretend for a while they belong in her life of privilege and excess. Then a secret invitation comes in plain white envelope from an unlikely messenger, and the games Tim and Kate have been playing become a lot more complicated. 2010. Do innocent fashion. Elon San Jamor knew from childhood that he was destined for a better life than the one his working class, multiracial parents share in Texas. A life inspired regime pages, a full ride to Yale opens the door to a more glamorous world, and he quickly befriends Madeline and Dorian, both scions of incredible wealth and privilege. With their help, he reinvents himself, and after 4 decadent years, he graduates as Ethan St. James. But reality hits hard when Ethan arrives at regime and is relegated to the lowest rung of the ladder. Oh well. 2016. The Cruel Ever After. Ellen Hart. The shock that Minneapolis restaurateur Jane Lewis is in for when Chester Garrity, her ex-husband, returns to a city he swore he'd never see again is nothing compared to Chester's own after their divorce many years ago. He took off with his inheritance to travel the world, leaving Jane with enough seed money to open her first restaurant, which worked out well for Jane but less so for Chester. Now he's back in penniless, or as he would prefer to say, between fortunes. He's working on angle to make his next one by selling a priceless artifact recently looted from Baghdad Museum. But it all falls through when he wakes up next to the dead body of his buyer with no memory of what happened. Oops. 2010. Christmas Bug on Ladybug Farm with recipes from Ladybug Farm. It's Christmas Eve, and Cece, Bridget, and Lindsay are busy preparing their annual holiday party. Tree is sparkling, the turkey is roasting, the stockings are hung, and the eggnog is chilled. The scene is set for the perfect Christmas with one or two exceptions. The entire state is in the midst of a heat wave. No one can find any mistletoe. The Christmas tree lights keep exploding, and perhaps worst of all, something is gone terribly wrong with Ida May's fruitcakes. It wouldn't be Ladybug's farm if everything went according to plan, and as the ladies deal with one mishap after another, they remember Christmas past, laughter shared, and lessons learned. Um, 2010. Susan Elizabeth Phillips. Dr. Isabel Favor, author of Core Stone and Stones for Favor of Life, has sacrificed everything to build her self-help empire. Then, in a matter of weeks, it's all come crashing down. She loses her money to an unscrupulous accountant, her fiancé to a frumpy older woman, and her reputation to headlines denouncing her as a fraud. America's diva of self-help soon discovers she can fix everyone's life but her own. Ah, um, 2002. Hey, for 2002. It's in pretty good condition. The Secret Life of Dorothy Soames. Justine had always been told that her mother came from royal blood, but beneath the polished veneer lay a fearsome temper that drove Justine from home the moment she was old enough to escape. Years later, when her mother sent her an envelope filled with secrets from the past, Justine buried it in a back of an old filing cabinet. Overcome with grief after her mother's death, Justine found herself drawn back to the envelope. Its contents revealed a mystery that stretched back to World War II and a resilient child who dreamed of escape as German bombers rained down from the skies. Hmm. 2021. An an innocent fashion. Uh, we just did this. There's two copies? There's two copies. Oh well. Alright, next one. Uh Wishes and Stitches, a Cypress Hollow yarn. We should have used this for the knitting thing the other day. It has always been Naomi Fontaine's dream to practice small-town medicine, an ambition that brought her to Cypress Hollow. The charming, tight-knit community her late friend, knitting guru Eliza Carpenter loved so well. But no matter how hard she tries, Naomi can't seem to fit here. Then rugged Rig Keller moves in to take over half of Naomi's medical practice and instantly charms everyone in town, including Naomi. Rig saw what a broken relationship did to his brother and has no interest whatsoever in getting in serious, but you know, things happen and it's a romance book, so things happen. 2011. Uh, The Weaver. People don't have to. Ilana is a model citizen of the island, a weaver in the prestigious House of Webs. She also harbors a dangerous secret. She can read and write, what is forbidden to most women, and she can dream, an ability forbidden by the island's elusive councils of elders. No one talks about the dream as the undesirable ostracized from society. But the web of protection Elena has woven around herself begins to unravel when a young girl is found lying unconscious in a pool of blood on the stones outside the house. Robbed of speech by her attackers, the only clue to her identity is one word tattooed in visible ink across her palm, Elena. Why does this mysterious girl bear her name? What links to the Weaver, and how can Elena hold her fate in her hand? Don't know. 2016. Judith Krantz. Look how thick this is. Let's see. In 1978, Judith Krantz burst upon the publishing scene with Scruples, a novel that captivated readers everywhere. Now in Scruples 2, Judith Krantz continues the story of Billy Acon, one of the contemporary fiction most intriguing women. It begins on the day after Scruples ended, the day on which Billy's husband, producer Vito, won the Oscar for Best Picture. Scruples gives us 5 more years in the luscious lives of 3 people who run Scruples. 1992. Jan Karon. A Common Life. The Wedding Story. Mitford's Lord Chapel seats barely 200 souls, yet millions of Jane Crannon's fans will be there for the most joyous event in years, the wedding of Father Tim Cavanaugh and Cynthia Coppersmith. Here at last, A Common Life, the sixth book in the best-selling Mitford Years series, and the long-awaited answers to these deeply probing questions. Will Father Tim fall apart when he takes his vows? Will Cynthia make it to the church on time? Who will arrange the flowers and bake the wedding cake? And will Uncle Billy's prayers for a great joke be answered in time for the reception? 2001. Uh, Enchantress of Paris, Marcy Jefferson. There we go. The alignment of stars at Marie Marcini's birth warned that although she would be a gift at divination, she was destined to disgrace her family. Ignoring dark warnings of her sister and astrologers, Cardinal Mazarin brings his niece to the French court where the forbidden occult arts thrive in secret. In France, Marie learns her uncle has become the power behind the throne by using her sister Olympia to hold the Sun King Louis XIV in thrall. Desperate to avoid her mother's dying wish that she spend her life in a convent, Marie burns through her grimoire trading Italian superstitions for polite sophistication. But as Marie's star rises, Louis the King's become enchanted by her charm. Sensing a chance to grasp even greater glory, Cardinal Mazarin pits the sisters against each other, showering Marie with diamonds and silks in exchange for bending King Louis to his will. I don't know. 2015. Fairness. Tucson? I can't see. There we go. Um, an O Magazine Most Anticipated Book of 2020. Fairest is a memoir about a precious boy with albinism from a rural Philippine village who would grow up to become a woman in America, coping with the strain of parental neglect and the elusive promise of U.S. citizenship. Tilson found comfort from her grandmother, a grounding force as she was treated by others with special preference or public curiosity. As an immigrant to the U.S., Tilson was perceived as white. An academic scholarship to Harvard provided access to elite circles of privilege, but required Tilson to navigate through the complex fears of race, class, sexuality, and her place within the gay community. See what happens. Ah, the letter. Kevin Hughes. There's no. Tina Craig works all hours she can and volunteers in a charity shop to avoid her unhappy home. Going through the pockets of a second-hand suite, she comes across an old letter, the envelopes finely sealed and unfranked. Tina opens the letter and reads it, a decision that will alter the course of her life forever. Stealing Jake. Livy O'Brien is looking for a job in town when she spies a young boy jostling a man walking along the boardwalk, and she recognizes the act for what it is. After all, she used to be known as Light-Fingered Livy, but that was before she put her past behind her and moved to the growing town of Chestnut, Illinois, where she's helping to run an orphanage. Now she'll do most anything to protect the street kids like herself. The Darkest News, Cheryl Hung something. Chicago, 1938. Late one night before the 10 o'clock show, the body of a prominent radio actress is found dead in the station's lounge. All the evidence points to murder and one young up-and-coming radio actress, Vivian Witchell, as the next victim. But Vivian isn't the type to leave her fate in the hands of others. She's used to stealing the show. Alongside charming private detective Charlie Haverson, Vivian is thrust into a world of clues and motives and suspects and secrets. Interesting. Union Atlantic, Adam Hazlitt. At the heart of Union Atlantic lies a test of wills between an ambitious young banker, Doug Fanning, and a retired history teacher, Charlotte Grace, who has suddenly begun to hear her two dogs speaking to her in the voices of Cotton Mather and Malcolm X. When Doug builds a ostentatious mansion on land that Charlotte's grandfather donated to the town of Findon, Massachusetts, she's determined to oust him in court. Drawn into the intensifying conflict, Nate Fuller, a troubled high school senior who unwittingly stirs powerful emotions in both of them. As the senior manages a Union Atlantic, Doug is orchestrating the bank's elaborate gamble to remain at the head of the pack. And it is Charlotte's brother Henry Graves, the president of the New York Federal Reserve, who must keep a watchful eye on the financial giant and affect the entire financial system. Ooh, it's an ARC. I haven't seen an ARC in a while. You know what ARC is? It's Advanced Reader's Copy. And you know how you can tell it's an ARC? There's no price on the thing. There's no price on the back either. An editor-in-chief of New York's leading fashion magazine, Fiona Montague, lived a life as hectic and high-toned as the fashion world itself, jetting back and forth between the stylish Manhattan brownstone and the couture shows of Europe. With closet stuffed with Fendi, a snoring bulldog named Sir Winston, sharing her bed, and a houseman who favors gold lame and borrows his shoes, Fiona was utterly content with her life until the sweltering day June that John Anderson strolled into her office. Ah, empty mansion. Looks like one of those Vanderbilt type situations, don't it? Oh, and it's got the good paper. That means I always think that it means the publisher was confident in the author. Good Lord. Um, When Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Bill DEDMAN noticed in 2009 a grand home for sale, unoccupied for nearly 60 years, he stumbled through a surprising portal into American history. Empty mansions in a rich mystery of wealth and loss connecting the Gilded Age opulence of the 19th century with a 21st century battle over 300 million inheritance. At its heart is a reclusive heiress named Huguette Clark, a woman so secretive at the time of her death at 104, no new photograph of her had been seen in decades. Though she owned a palatial home in California, New York, and Connecticut, why she lived for 20 years in a simple hospital room despite being in excellent health. Why were her valuables being sold off? Was she in control of her fortune, or was someone else managing her money? Interesting. The mayor's daughter, James Hoggard. Another ordinary man becomes mayor, and his wife is welcomed into society through no fault of their own in Boomtown, West Texas. What quickly won can be quickly lost, especially if the mayor's daughter falls in love with an ordinary man whose mother runs a questionably boarding house. Good God. Should I just drop one? Jennifer Weiner, Hungry Heart. You know Jennifer Weiner is many things, best-selling author, Twitter phenomenon, and an unlucky feminist enforcer. She's also a mom, a daughter, and a sister. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't say what the book's about. It just talks about Jennifer. What did I drop? Oh, okay. We hope for better things. Erin Bartels. When Detroit Free Press reporter Elizabeth Balsam meets James Rich, his strange request that she look up a relative she didn't know she had in order to deliver an old camera and a box of photos seems like it isn't worth her time, but when she loses her job after a botched investigation, she suddenly finds herself with nothing but time. At her great aunt's 150-year-old farmhouse, Elizabeth uncovers a series of mysterious items, locked doors, and hidden graves. As she searches for answers to riddles around her, she remarkable stories of two women who lived in this house emerge as testaments to love, resilience, and courage. See what happens. Jennifer Shivani, The Giving Quilt. At Elm Creek Manor, the week after Thanksgiving, Quilts Giving quilt gatherers for a special camp to make quilts for a charitable organization dedicated to providing homemade quilts and blankets to children in need. Each quilter, ever mindful that many of her neighbors, friends, and family struggle through difficult times, pledges the strength of her creative gifts to alleviate the burden. As the week unfolds, the quilters respond to Master Quilt Sullivan Bergstrom compassion. Why do you give? Aw. Ah, and loves bidding Regina Jennings. After helping her grandfather at Boston auction house, Miranda Whipplegate discovers she's accidentally sold a powerful family prize portrait to an anonymous bidder. Despite desperate to appease the people who could ruin them forever, they track it to Missouri Ozarks and make an outlandish offer to buy the local auction house and all its holding before the paintings can move again. Holly Jacobs, Everything But a Groom. Let's see. Every Hungarian grandma knows that words have power. Nana Solo never meant the words she said in anger to become a family curse, but that's just what happened. Her granddaughter Vancy is the newest victim. Vancy's fiance left her at the altar, and now the press is after a hot grandma curses granddaughter wedding stir. Vancy doesn't believe in the Sallow family wedding curse, but when her groom ditches her and the press is hot on her heels, she's not quite sure anymore. She's hiding out at Matt Wild, owner of the Everything Wild landscape business, helping out with his nearly two newly inherited nephews as she figures out what to do. The Knitting Circle. Uh, yeah. Uh, I mean, there you go. I'm not gonna read it. They all counsel each other and help them get through this. Okay. The Memory Quilt, A Christmas Story for Our Times, T.J. Jakes. After A Perfect Christmas for Leela Edwards this year would include the presence of her husband, three daughters, and her favorite granddaughter, Darcy. They would be happy, healthy, and properly married, but life doesn't always unfold in a perfect way, even for God-loving, church-going people like these. Layla's husband of 50 years, Walter, has recently passed, and the daughters now live in towns and states far from Chicago, where they were raised. Darcy is traveling to Missouri City, Texas, to be with her mother, not to Chicago to be with her grandmother, whom she expects to come down hard on her for deciding to divorce her husband and father of her unborn child. Layla is upset and annoyed with Darcy and herself for breaking her own time-honored tradition of making a quilt to celebrate family weddings. The quilt is in separate pieces, and so is apparently the marriage of Doug and Darcy. So it's about putting everything back together, huh? Ah. Winter in full bloom. Lily's changes to heartbeat when a fiery confrontation with her mother uncovers a mystery about her totally dysfunctional family, sending Lily on a panicky flight around the world to get answers, but she more than expected in Melbourne when a surreptitious meeting sparks friendship with a man who is more than just a brazen Aussie. Saving Abby. All children's book illustrator Claire Turner ever wanted was to be her mother. After 6 years of trying to conceive, she and her husband Josh have finally accepted that she will never be pregnant with her own child. Yet once they give up hope, the couple gets the miracle they've been waiting for. The first few months of her pregnancy, Claire and Josh are on cloud nine. But when she begins to experience debilitating headaches, blurred vision, and even fainting spells, things don't look good. Adopt. Just adopt. The girls from Bronzeville, Don Turner. They were three black girls, Dawn, her sister Kim, and her best friend Deborah. These third-generation daughters of the Great Migration came of age in the 1970s. In the warm glow of the recent civil rights movement, these girls are all giggles and dreams and promises of friends forever. Then fate intervenes, sending them careening in wildly different directions. See what happens. Oh, Dime Store, Lee Smith. For the intimate Lee Smith, place is paramount. The 45 years her fiction has lived and breathed with rhythms and the people of Appalachian South, but never before has she written her own story. Dime Store's 15 essays are crucially honest, wise, and perceptive. Oh, all right, last two. Peter Helton, An Inch of Time. Ugh, this is like another ARC. Chris Honeysett, artist and private investigator, is suffering through a particularly dismal spring in Bath studio when an unexpected job offer suddenly presents him with not only a solution to his current lack of funds, but also the chance to escape the British weather. Okay. And the final one, Courting Mr. Lincoln. When debutante Mary Todd meets Abraham Lincoln in 1840, she finds a reticent country lawyer who lacks money and manners but has a gift for oratory. Mary gradually discovers Lincoln's admirable nature, his gentle wit, and his genius, as well as his respect for her keen political mind. But as the relationship deepens, Mary must confront his inseparable friendship with Joshua Speed, who taught his roommate how to dance, dress, and navigate the polite society of Springfield. Ah. Oh. That was it of this mainstream romance eclectic group. Please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job. I hope you enjoy these unboxings. I never know what's going to be in the boxes, so I'm always surprised when they get here. Have a good one.